Back in 2006, I worked for one of those big box stores that had an IT desk formerly known as Nerd Herd, where people could bring devices in to get serviced if there was a problem. We were located in Columbus, GA, which is right over a bridge from Phoenix City, AL. This is important because where our store was placed, we would normally get a lot of servicemen and women coming up from Fort Benning who were generally pretty cool. But we would also get folks mostly from Alabama who were, let's just say, slightly unfavorable to folks of a certain skin color or gender. No offense to those who live in AL who are totally awesome. Now, I'm a 5'1" girl who, at the time, weighed a total of 120 pounds soaking wet. I was practically a hobbit. I was also one of the lead technicians in the department. I was the one the new hires went to if they were confused or couldn't troubleshoot certain problems. The team I worked with was amazing. The general manager of the store was great and the supervisor of my department was the man. I would regularly go out for drinks with these people. One of the best places I've ever worked, even though it was retail. One day, I'm working the counter to check customers in and do evaluations and diagnostics to give an estimate of what the repair price would be. In comes, let's call him Joe. He wore a cut-off t-shirt, worn denim jeans, and a baseball cap with a Confederate flag on it, and there was a party made with his haircut in the back. I am not one to judge on looks. I've had plenty of people come in looking exactly the same way this guy did, who have been an absolute delight to work with. Never judge a book by its cover, kids, but I still have my defenses up just in case. I really hoped it wasn't going to go the not-so-friendly route. I was unfortunately wrong about Dear Joe. Joe walks up to the counter with his PC tower and practically slams the unit on the desk. I need this fixed. It's broken. Okay, sir. Let me have a look and I'll see if I can... Joe cuts me off and stares at me with a disgusted look on his face. Excuse me? If you give me a moment, sir, I'll be able to take a look at your computer and... Aw, heck, no! It was at this point that I realized where this was inevitably going to go wrong. Unfortunately, sir, I won't be able to give you an estimate if you don't let me diagnose your computer. There is no way a woman knows about computers. I'm not letting you touch my computer. Get me the manager. Oh, yes, I thought. This is going to be awesome. I'm sure he wanted to talk to the general manager of the store, but I couldn't resist. I could have pulled the I'm the manager thing because I was one of the senior staff, but my direct boss was actually out back working on repair projects, and I couldn't help but get excited about how this was going to go down. Me, as lovely as sweet tea, said of course, Sir, right away, sir. Mike, my supervisor, the guy who ran our department, and not the general manager of the store, was elbow deep in a motherboard replacement when I walked in and gave him the biggest grin. Hey, Mike, there's a guy out there asking for the manager. He looked at me confused because he was just a supervisor, but I then proceeded to tell him exactly what was waiting for him out front. His face split into the brightest smile. He then proceeded to walk out to the front. Have I mentioned that Mike is a 6'3", 280 pounds black man who looked like he could eat a Mack truck for lunch? He was such a big, lovable teddy bear. We all adored him. The moment Mike stepped out, the customer freaked. Hello, sir. I hear there's a problem. Joe lost it. It started with a heck no before devolving into a racist tirade that I have never witnessed in my life. Joe kept screaming, using the nastiest slur over and over again, while staff and customers alike watched in blank horror. Security ended up having to come over to try to calm the man down, and Joe went even more crazy. Eventually, the police had to be called because the man was threatening me, calling me names and threatening security and my boss, using words that are not okay. My general manager got called out of his office and immediately called the police to have the man removed. God bless whichever dispatcher who received the call was because they sent us 2 officers so quickly. I watched with unbridled glee as Joe was cuffed and taken away by the police. Watching Joe foam at the mouth as he was dragged away made my whole week. Thank you for the entertainment, bigoted Joe. This morning, I was out mowing my lawn. I happened to be wearing a ratty t-shirt that had a logo from a video game that I enjoy playing. We live in a very small town in northern Wisconsin. Everyone just kind of minds their own business, so we have never had much interaction with any of our neighbors, which is fine with us. One of the houses that is next to ours is a rental property that the owners converted into a duplex. The bottom half is empty, and there are 2 adults, M and F, that live in the upper unit with 2 kids. I have never spoken to the parents as they have never made an attempt to even give the neighbor wave when we see the adults outside. However, this morning, the mom starts walking over towards me, so I stop the lawnmower and say good morning. She comments about how we have such a big house. I tell her it is because we like having lots of pets, 4 cats and 2 dogs, and that we usually adopt the animals that have medical issues since I am a nurse and my niece is a vet. We make a little more chit-chat and go about finishing mowing the lawn. I go inside to do some other chores and I hear a knock on the door. I check the cameras and there are 2 kids standing at my door. I make it a policy that I do not interact with children that do not have a parent with them, especially because I am a gay man and with the current political state, to me it is better safe than sorry. So I ignore the knocks and continue with my chores. A few minutes go by and the woman I spoke to earlier in the yard is standing there, so I open the door. She is upset that I ignored her children when they came over as they wanted to play with our pets. I told her that I would never allow children in my house that did not have a parent with them and that our pets were not play toys for her children. So then she asked if they could play video games since I must be a gamer because of the shirt I had on. I reiterated that I would never allow children who do not have an adult with them in our home. She then starts going on about she needs some alone time because her boyfriend left her and she is the only one on the lease because he has bad credit and she cannot afford her rent and she just needs some time to herself. I apologize that she is having a rough time, but that my husband and I would not be willing to entertain her children for her. She looked perplexed for a bit and I was curious as to what confused her. And then she said something that made me lose it in a major way. She said, "Gross, why do fags have to be my neighbors?" I replied, "Look here, you nasty C-word. You will never say that to me or my husband again. You need to leave right now." And I slammed the door in her face. She kept pounding on our door, screaming all kinds of slurs and obscenities. Because we have had some issues with kids destroying property, we have cameras all over the outside of our house. So I turned on the alarm on all of them. She got the message then and left. Like, what actual F? I have never been so glad to have cameras everywhere outside. Okay, this sounds weird, but hear me out. I love gaming and often buy new accessories like keyboard mouse for a better experience. I had a keyboard my cousin lived to use whenever he came by, so this time when I was upgrading my keyboard, I thought to customize the keyboard for him and gifted him. He loves Asian and European cuisine, so I thought to get the case changed with small food items keys. My friend, who works in a shop specializing with customizing, offered to customize it for me at a reduced rate as he also loved to play with my cousin, and we made it a gift from both of us. It took a month for him to get it customized and costed around $450. I stopped by his shop to pick it up and get it wrapped for his birthday the next day. After getting it packed in a plastic box, transparent, I kept it on the counter and started to look for a mobile skin I wanted. When I saw this kid around 7-year-old looking at the keyboard and was amused, I asked him if he liked it and asked if he wanted to see it from closer. He said he wanted to try the sushi on it. I assumed he thought it was real and told him that it's not real and plastic keys and he can ask the person there, my friend, to make him one and he can play games with it. He was happy and went to his mom, and I think he said the thing in a manner that his mom assumed that he wants to eat the sushi on it. I guess he said something along with lines, "I loved the sushi on that person's plate." I guess he didn't understood what a keyboard is. Can I get one? After a minute, when I was returning to counter to collect my keyboard, the lady approached me and said in an unusual tone, "Could not you have my son get a piece of sushi from your box? You have plenty." I thought she was just joking. So I laughed and picked up my box and started to go when this lady grabbed my box with both her hands. It was still in my hands and started to snatch it, continuously saying that I cannot refuse her son to have one. I tried to tell her that's It's a keyboard, and she shouted that we Gen Z lie to people's face and she is gonna get one sushi for her son. I'm not a really well-built tall boy, I'm short and slim. This lady seemed like she goes to the gym and was taller than me. So it was obvious I suddenly left the hold of box and tried to balance myself, and the lady dropped the keyboard. The keyboard broke half of the pins. Gore, detached. Keyboard got a large crack, and also some part got broken into small pieces. I was devastated and screamed at her, asking for money, and she shrugged it off, saying that if she would have known it was some Gens crap, she wouldn't have even bothered to be near me. I lost it and called police for destroying stuff, and police took her with them after seeing CCTV footage. Also, I did not get the skin I wanted for my phone. It was out of stock. So, I live in India and have a friend about 5 months old. About him, he is a couple months older than me and is terrible at handling electronic devices. This is important later. So, about a week ago, my friend told he was getting the latest iPhone. I was skeptical as he has destroyed about 4 phones in the last 3 years, latest being about 8 months old and $280. But it didn't concern me, so he got his phone next day, the new Apple one, and asked me if I know anyone who would like to buy his old phone for $50–$60. Now, his phone is what I describe as a century-old buried phone, which came into contact with nuclear explosions. Yeah, screen almost completely shattered. Touch not working properly, has black spots all over screen due to viruses and lags like a Nokia phone while playing PUBG on it. I asked a couple friends, and yeah, nobody wanted it, but I knew a friend whose father repairs phone for videos, so I bought the phone for $55 as I needed a new phone, and this was an opportunity and got it repaired from another friend's dad for just $50. It looked completely brand new. Since I got his old box and everything after buying a charger, it was like a new sealed phone. I used it for a week when I thought to do something weird. I listed the phone on couple websites to check its worth now, as it was discontinued just after launch within a week and only had about 2,500 copies, and somehow my friend got one. I didn't check the websites for a month, but when I did, I had an offer for about $350, almost thrice for what I bought and repaired it for. So, without a second thought, I sold it to the person. He was a phone collector, and also showed me his collection. It was huge. He knew it was used, but still gave that amount. I don't know how this incident reached my friend's ear, and now he is pissed thinking that I betrayed him and bought it for cheap and sold for a profit, and is asking for all $350 as he was its owner and deserves the money as he bought that limited edition phone. All of my friends are in my support, and those who weren't started supporting me after listening to the incident. He had told people that how I stole his phone and sold it. Though I have the transaction receipts and proof, I am not willing to continue this drama and friendship as he is getting on my nerves. So what do I do?